Today we're going to show you how you can use Make.com and Overledger's integration to perform cross-chain transactions. A cross-chain transaction is where a transaction on one blockchain causes a secondary transaction to occur on a separate blockchain. So to demonstrate this, we've created a scenario which starts off with watching for smart contract events. So this particular module has been configured to monitor events on a smart contract, and that contract emits events if someone burns an ERC-721 token or mints it. So every time that occurs on the blockchain, this module will trigger, and then we pass that data to the module. That data will be things relating to that event, so the event topics and corresponding data. So then we've set up a filter. So that filter will have a look at the event data and filter out anything that doesn't match up to what we need. So what we've done there is we've looked at the native data, the first topic, and we're checking if the text corresponds to this hash value. So the way that works is the topics are a hash value of the event data, and we know that this particular data corresponds to the metadata, and then we're checking this secondary value, which indicates the transfer to address of the transaction. So that implies that the tokens were sent to the 0 address, meaning they were burned. So this check just tells us that the event that was emitted means tokens were burnt, and that's the sort of transaction we want to deal with. So whenever this succeeds and passes through, we want to then prepare a smart contract transaction. So this is where we want to execute something on a new blockchain based on our previous event. So we're going to prepare an XDC transaction. So we just fill out all the necessary information. We fill out, we want to mint because we burned on one chain. That means we want to mint on a separate chain. We build up our input parameters for the value that was burned. So once the prepare occurs, we transform that result into JSON, and then we can take that data and pass it to the sign a transaction Overledger module. And we fill that out with the request ID using the CTA sender, and we pass in the JSON string created by the transform to JSON. And once that responds, we will get a request ID and we'll get our signed data. So based on those two values, we can then send it to the execute v2 sign transaction module. So what this does, this is the step which actually sends it to the blockchain. So for this one, we just need to pick our instance, which is the sandbox environment. We then pass in the signed transaction and the request ID. So once this flow occurs, we will have a burn event on one chain, which passes to the router, filters out anything which doesn't match our burn event. We prepare that transaction, convert it to JSON, sign that transaction, and then execute it on the blockchain.